Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started for today. And today we're going to talk about Gmail. And I am not a Gmail expert in any means, but that's okay. You don't have to be either. Gmail, when you're taking the test, we're just really kind of, going into this and have that mindset that there's a few things we have to do in Gmail to be able to take the Google Level 1 certification test. So those are some things I'm going to show you today. It's like any other email, but it does have some really nice features that are a little bit different than what you may be used to. And it's something that really Outlook could just kind of take a little hint and do some extra things with it. So anyway, I want to show you those today. And as always, we start out here with our slide deck that we have. And just so I don't forget, I like to mention that after our session today, we have a help session for you, and that's going to be at 3:30. And Kelly and I are just going to kind of do a Google certification wrap up with you and give you some ideas of a little question and answer session about taking the test and so on. And so we'll do that at 3:30, and that will be with Kelly and me, and that will be a link that you need to go back to our website and click on that link. And again, it's going to be today at 3:30. So let's go ahead and start down here. I'm going to scroll down to Gmail. And again, you get here by going bit.ly/path to GC1. I bet you all have that memorized by now because you've been in it. Gosh, look at all these sessions that we've done. We're on our 21st slide, so that's a lot of sessions. So here we go. This is Gmail, and these are the skills that we're going to look at today. We're going to send and receive Gmail email, that is, and we're going to talk about labels. We're going to talk about search, applying filters, working with attachments, and creating Google Tasks. And there's several other things we're going to talk about, and that's just really the specifics to kind of focus on when we're talking about testing and getting ready for the Google Level 1 certification. So, all right, our practice task over here today, this is for after you're done. This is definitely not everything that you should be working with Gmail. You really need to get in there and play with it. I would suggest sending emails back and forth between your Fayette County account and your Gmail account, and just kind of doing it that way. I think that will work really well for you. And then playing with what we're teaching you today, especially with the filters and with the labels and attachments and so forth. You do not have a Fayette County associated Gmail account, so you do need to create a personal Gmail account, and that is what I've done. So if you're logged in, so I can tell that I'm logged in right here. If I hover over this, then I can see it's my Fayette County account. If I go and open up a new tab and I type in gmail.com, it's going to let me know that I don't have access to Gmail through my Fayette County account. So what you have to do is click here and sign in with a different account. Okay. And then I have my account right here. It's jerrybroyles2@gmail.com. And I would just click on that and then enter my password and so forth. Okay. Now, if you have trouble creating an account, you can either log out or you can go over here and go new incognito window and then just type in gmail.com and create an account if you haven't done that yet. Okay, so a couple ways to get there. I'm just going to close this right here out and go to my Gmail right here. Okay, so this is what my Gmail looks like. Mine is a little bit busier than yours if you don't use Gmail. If you do use it, then yours is probably a lot busier than mine is. And I really don't have a whole lot of emails in here, but this is just where I've been playing around with it and doing different things with it, okay? So let's kind of talk about our interface here. And I'm going to start on the left-hand side here. And over here we have just the different categories and so forth of how we can arrange email. And I'll talk about those as we go. So first we have that big compose button, and that's how we're going to create a new email in just a few minutes. Here we have our inbox, and you can go over here to this little drop down, and you can change what this looks like. Have the most important first, unread first, whatever. I just keep it as default, and default actually just puts the last messages at the top, the most recent ones at the top. So let me go back here a little bit to inbox. And over here we have starred. So as you notice, some of my emails in my inbox have a star beside them. And if I want to star others, I just click on it right here. I just click on that and that stars it. And then I can go right here to the categorization of starred, and I can see all the ones that are in my inbox that are starred, okay? And actually this one is snoozed, okay? And you can tell it's snoozed because it has that 6 o'clock p.m. Uh, time on it, okay? Now, what you can do is you can snooze emails as well, okay? And when you do that, they show up right here in the snooze category. And these are just emails that I have snoozed that will then show up later in my inbox. Right now, they're not showing up there, okay? So maybe you're really good at keeping your inbox cleaned out and you're like, you know what, I don't have time for these right now. I want them to come back and show up at 6 o'clock, and you can snooze them until a later time. All right, this is my sent. We know what sents are. Those are all the emails I've sent recently, drafts. And then down here is all mail. Now, all mail is your entire email box, not just your inbox, but also anything that's snoozed, like these, show up here, okay? Anything that I have archived shows up here. And so there's some different terminology that we use here for our email inside Gmail. I know that we're used to Outlook. So Outlook, what you typically do is that you will get an email, you'll drag it to a folder, or you'll delete it, okay? Now in Gmail, you have some different options. You can leave it in your inbox. You can archive your email, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment, but you can also trash it. Now, trash is a little bit different because in Outlook, I think our emails stay there, oh my goodness, maybe forever? I don't really know. But in Gmail, they only stay in the trash for 30 days. After 30 days, they're deleted. Okay, so that's something to remember. And right here, it says messages that have been trashed more than 30 days will automatically be deleted. Okay, just a little reminder. Now, I also have categories here, and I want to talk about those in just a moment. And we have several categories. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for a minute, but we'll be back to those in just a few minutes. Now, down here is what are labels. I have created these labels. Now, you can think of labels as folders. Okay, so you can go from your inbox and move emails into your labeled folder. You can also label them without moving them to a folder. So we're going to kind of discuss that, and that's something that you kind of need to play with a little bit if you plan on using Gmail a lot, okay? Now, down here I have Google, and those are just emails inside here that I've moved or I've labeled as Google, and then they show up in here, okay? Now, down here, there's a little more arrow, so I'm going to click on that arrow. And when I do that, I have some other sections that I can look at. Here's spam, there's chats and so forth. And I can move these up and down. So this is an area where I kind of have all the things that I want. I know it's kind of busy, but if I want to move those to another, like maybe I don't want to see my trash. So I can take it and I can drag it on down here, way past where it says less. I can move it right there. And now my trash has moved below my less folder. And if I just click on the less, then I don't have all those things to look at anymore, okay? So if you really are a minimal person, you can move these down beyond where it says less. And then if you want to move some of these back up, you can move them around. So easy to move around just to customize the needs that you want in your email. So I'm going to keep trash up there. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to move it back up. And I'll put it right here below all mail. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's kind of left-hand side and kind of gets you going on what that is. You can create a new label, and we'll show you how to do that as well. There's lots of different places inside Gmail to create labels. And remember, labels are just a way to organize your mail into folders, okay? Or just label them as something that's in your inbox and it gives you a little reminder what that email is about. Right, down here, you can start a new Google Meet if you want, and you can join a Meet. You can also start a chat here, okay? And you've probably seen videos on those already, but those are just different areas for where you can start those. So let's scroll up here, and that was our left-handed categories now. So let's go over here to the top side here. Let me go back to my inbox so things will look a little bit more normal for me. All right, there we go. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, and I'm a little unsure about that delay. I'm like, did I really click on that or not? But just remember, you're online, you're still in Google land, so sometimes it just acts slow like other apps do in Google sometimes. Okay, so on the top side here, right now I have this email selected, this email right there, and I have an opportunity to archive that. Now what that does is that will send it to your all mail, okay, and you will have it saved. Now, if I don't want this email anymore, I can just go ahead and delete it and use the trash can feature. So you have a different choice here. So you can move it to your all mail, you know, by archiving it, or you can put it in a labeled folder if you want. Maybe I want to do that. Or maybe you just want to trash it. So you have some choices here. Here, if I think this is spam, I can put it in my spam folder. The Outlook equivalent is junk mail. So here we have spam. Then we can delete it, of course. Here we can mark it as unread. Here we can snooze it, and we talked about that earlier. So if I want to click snooze, I can choose what time of day, like later today or tomorrow, or when I want to see that email pop up again. Okay. All right, then over here we can snooze it. Oh, I'm sorry, we just went over that. It must be late in the day for me. I don't know what's going on. Here we can add it to task. Now, if you saw my calendar session on Google Calendar, and we also talked about task, you can take this email right here and you can add it as a task. So if I just click right there, then that email actually pops up over here, and then I can go to the edit for details, and I can add a time and date that I need to look at that. I can change what this is instead of new message. Maybe it's something to do with, let's see, prepare for IFL conference. We're going to be talking about that a lot today because that is coming up in July. It's going to be virtual if you haven't heard. And then I can add a date and time if I want to. So maybe I'm going to go over here to June, and I need to look at that on June 3rd. Okay. And then I can just close that out. And then if I go back to my task, and there it is. It's right there. If I go back here, and I can see some of my other things that I've added to my task. So really easy to do. This probably looks a little bit different than what I'm used to looking at, because remember, I'm not in my Fayette County Public Schools account. I'm in my personal account, okay, because we had to set up a personal email. So it does look a little bit different for me. So I have to remind myself of that. Okay, also you can move this. So if I have this message right here, I want to move it somewhere. I can move it to any of these labels that I had. I can also move it to these different categories for the inbox, which we'll talk about in just a minute. I can move it to spam or trash. I can create a new label if I wanted to, and so forth. Okay. Then right here, if I want to label this, I can give it another label. Now notice when I click on this, it's already labeled KISTI, and right here you can see that it already has that KISTI label. Well, maybe there's something in there about Caitlin Tucker. So I can click on that as well, and then I can hit apply. And now it has two different labels. And I see those labels right here as well. So it's really easy to change these, and it's a great organizational tip that I really like to use. Okay. All right, then I click here for more, and I can mark it as unread. I can add a star. I can do other things about it as well. Okay. So lots to do, different things. Now, that was the top bar of navigation. So down here are some things that Google does for you automatically. It will, whenever emails come in, if it is a social email, maybe it's Facebook or Twitter, then those emails will actually show up here. Now, I do not have this account associated with Facebook or Twitter, or even a dating site or services or something like that. It tells you what it can do here. If I did, those emails would pop up here. Now, I do have this email account associated with a Kroger card that I had. So now if I go over here to promotions, remember there's that delay, and that's okay, just be ready for it. Now I see all these Kroger promotional emails that were sent to my account, and it kept it out of my primary inbox and put it automatically in my promotions inbox. Okay, so that's a nice thing. I kind of like that. It helps you organize all of those different types of emails that you may have trouble dealing with inside just your Outlook account. Okay, so I'm going to check my paper here just to make sure I'm on schedule for the agenda. And it looks like we're doing pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go over here. Now, one thing that does, when people are doing different trainings with Gmail, sometimes their Gmail looks so different than what I have seen. It's kind of confusing at times. So I'm going to show you what those look like, and I'm going to show you why I'm not choosing those right now. One thing that you can do is you can toggle your reading pane. So if I click on this, it makes it look like so many people that I've seen doing a Google training, they have it listed like this. And I am just not that kind of person. I really like to see that heading and then just a short preview of what that video or what that email looks like. So I don't use this view very often. But you can toggle between those right here. It's easy to do. Okay. And I like this view right here. So just a toggle. Now let's go over here to settings. Another thing that you may be seeing when you're seeing other presentations on Gmail is themes. Now, themes changes the background of Gmail, and it makes it look really good. I mean, for example, if I choose this forest theme right here, and I hit save, it's thinking. All right, you can see how that looks, and it looks really nice. The problem is during a training, it gets a little bit in the way because things are kind of hard to see. Because it's not a blanket type background that's just one color. Now you can choose other backgrounds here. You can upload some images if you want for your theme. You can also choose some kind of solid theme like these right here, and they look great. But for training purposes, I'm going to keep it to default right here so it's easy for you guys to see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to click on save there, and there we go. All right, so let's go over here to settings again. Now, there's some other features here. There's display density. Now, and that just kind of shows you how compact your email can be. Default looks like this. I don't have very many emails that really have a lot of attachments or links or anything like that to it. So mine isn't going to change a whole lot when I change these. But if you change it to compact, then it's really going to be kind of a little bit tighter. And I like the default, so I keep it there. So anyway, that's just a view you can change. I'm going to go back to settings. And now we're going to go down here to settings itself. Okay, that was the settings gear. We'll go into settings. Now, I'm going to take this kind of nice and slow. There's a lot going on in settings. If you ever go to like Outlook, there's a lot going on in there as well. So don't let it overwhelm you. I just want to point out a few things here, okay? Down here on our general tab, we have where you can add your picture right here. Okay, so your picture will show up. And mine's not showing up, which is kind of weird. So that's interesting. But down here, you can have your signature line. My signature line is working. So you can add pictures. This is a picture right here where I'm a certified trainer. And you can add text and so forth for your signature. And you can change the font type and bold and italics, use italics and so forth. Lots of different things. All right, now remember when you make any of those changes, be sure to click on Save Changes right here, okay? If you don't, those changes won't be made. Now let's go over here to the second tab, which is Labels. Okay, and this shows me all of these labels that I have. I kind of stay out of this because it looks a little bit overwhelming, and that's okay. But here's the labels that I've created right here. All right, and you can show them or hide them. I just always, keep them showing so that I can see them. But you can create a new label here as well if you want to do that. All right, let's go over here to filters and blocked addresses. Okay, now filtering we haven't done yet, but we're going to do it in just a minute. I want to show you how that works. But you can create a filter here. I have a couple filters already created, and the filter does this. Whenever an email comes into Gmail for you, if you have a filter applied, it can either add like a label, it can move it to a certain category such as social or your let's see, let me go back and show you what those were. They were social, they were updates, and they were forums and promotions, okay? There's several of them that you can have. I think I have social and promotions turned on so I can view those. But a filter can do that. It automatically moves or labels an email for you before it even gets to your inbox, okay? So we'll do a filter in just a minute. All right, let's go over here to advanced. Remember, we're just showing you a few things today, not everything about Gmail. Now, there used to be something called Gmail Labs. And in it, one of the things that was in the training was canned comments. And that was just an easy way for you to create an email or add text that you had already used. Kind of like grading papers where you have canned comments that you can select from. Well, they don't have Gmail Labs anymore, but they've taken that same idea and created templates with it. So I'm going to show you how to make a template in just a minute, but you do want to make sure that you have that enabled, okay? And that way you can play with it. All right, then we have themes. We talked about that already, and you can set a theme from here as well. Okay, so let's go back to my inbox. And I'm going to go over here a little bit. And let's talk about filters. So let's talk about filters, what we got. So let's say that I wanted to create a filter that any email that comes into my inbox, that it'll get a label of some sort, okay? So let's see, I'm gonna go up here. Now, to create filters, you can go up here to search. Remember, there was also back there in settings when we looked at it, but let's talk about the search. The search is really powerful because, you know, Google has a fantastic search. So let's say that I'm gonna search for maybe Caitlin Tucker and see how many of those emails I have. And it's loading all those emails from my inbox now. Okay, so I have all these emails about Caitlin Tucker. Some of those have labels because I've already labeled them. Some of them don't, okay? But let's say that we want to do this. We're going to go here and we're going to search for IFL conference. And right now it's not finding any, and that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here, and we're going to go to search options. And if it has the words, if I have any incoming emails, and I can change it to, you know, from a certain person that's sending it to me, maybe there's a subject line or something that has it. But I'm doing this. If it has the words IFL conference in it, what I want to do is I want to create a filter. And there's other choices here. You can determine what size you want, you know, what time of month or time of year, or, you know, in the last few days or whatever, in the last 6 months, last year, whatever. Let me click back on that. You can change all that. Or if it has an attachment and you want to filter it that way, any of those things you can check and change. But I just wanted to make sure that it has the words IFL conference in it. So I'm going to create a filter here. And it says, when a message arrives that matches this search, which means it has IFL conference in it, I want it to apply the label. That's what I want it to do. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to choose the label that I want. So I don't have an IFL conference label yet. So I can make a new label, and I'm just going to call it IFL conference. Now all those people emailing me about the IFL conference, hopefully it'll go into one label folder for me. All right. Now I could have it, you know, go to delete. If I wanted to do that, that would make some people really mad. Probably I don't want to do that. But right now I'm just going to have it label IFL conference. All right. Now, and I can do some other things, you know, always mark it as important. I can do that as well, and so on. So I'm going to create this filter. And I'm going to go back here to my inbox. I kind of like starting there. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And notice now I have a label here called IFL conference, okay? So I can change the color on that. You can color these as much as you like. So I just go to the 3 dots, And I'm going to go right here to label color. Change it to purple. All right. And also, if I want to put like a sub-label as well, then I can go right here and add a sub-label. And maybe that sub-label is schedule, something about the schedule. Okay. So I'm going to create that. And now there's a sub-label. So you can nest these within, they act a lot like folders. You can nest them one within the other. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my Outlook account, and I'm going to click on New Mail, and I'm going to send myself an email. So I am using the jerrybroyles2 at Gmail account, and I'm going to put something in here. Let's see, meeting for next week. And then just a note, we need to ramp up our presenters and attendees for the IFL conference. Okay, and I'll go ahead and send that to myself. And I'll get out of there, and I'll go back here. Now, if I go back up here to inbox, I think it'll load a little bit quicker. See if it's loading, see if that gets there. Okay, and notice when it came in, this is my, I'm gonna click on it now. This is my email I just sent to myself. Here's the text and so forth. And notice it added that label for me automatically. Okay, and then if I go over here to IFL conference, that email is the one and only one that I have in there so far. So it's a really nice way to go ahead and organize those. If I had not clicked on that in the inbox, if I just left it to be unread, then over here, I'm talking faster than my computer is loading. Let me scroll down a little bit. Then I would have seen a 1 here for it not being read. Okay. All right, so let's talk about creating a new email. So I'm gonna go right here to compose. And so it goes ahead and puts that signature that I talked about and showed you earlier in there. And I can create an email. So I'm going to send one to my Fayette County account. I can do this all day, people. Just keep saying them back and forth. Don't get tired. All right. So a little subject here. Let's see. End of year SharePoint cleanup. Okay. And I can just type out the text and so forth. Go ahead and contact our STCs about cleaning up SharePoint. Okay, and then now up here, when I did this, when I added my name, if this was in a domain, like if we actually had Gmail for our domain, then people that we're emailing to, it would start auto-completing like we have seen before. So if I was typing in Kelly Fisher's name and I started out K-E-L-L, it would start popping up different ideas of people that I'm going to email in my domain. So when you're taking the test, if you plan to do that, it's going to act just like that. So if they may ask you to email somebody, and once you start typing in that email address, then that name will probably pop up. Now, one thing that may be a good idea is that I use copy and paste a lot. So if they're telling me to email so-and-so and give me an email address, I will just highlight that entire email address and then use Control-C and then come over here and do Control-V. Okay, so that's an idea for you. Another thing down here is I can add attachments really easy to this. Again, you can have all those editing features that you see down here. You can change the font, the type size. And I love this because it says, if you look at the size, it says huge. And it's like, wow, they really put that word in there. I would have thought of a different word, but that one works for me. So then you can do bold, you can do indentation and so forth, and change your margins and centering and all that. Now, down here, I'm going to attach something to this email. So I'm going to go right here and go to Attach Files. And I'm going to find a PDF that I actually have in my computer here in my document section. And I'm going to click on that PDF right there and then click on Open. And now I see that I have an attachment down here. Okay. Now you can add other things. You can add links. You can add things for your Google Drive. You can add pictures and photos and so forth. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and send that to myself, and then I'm going to show you something else. All right. Notice it says sending over here. And then if I went to my other email box, I would find it. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something else, and this is templates. So let's talk about templates. So before, remember we talked about canned comments. It used to be part of Gmail Labs, and you had to turn it on and other things. Well, this is kind of the same idea. It's a template though. So I'm going to address this again to myself. And I'm going to look at my templates and just remind you what those look like. So down here, you have your three little dots for more options. So if you click on that, you have something called templates. And I have created some templates. One is called IFL Conference, Save the Date, Back at Office, and so forth. So you can create these and make these. I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. So I'm going to do this one right here where it says IFL Conference. So I'm going to click on that. And what it does is it pastes the text that I saved from that template right inside here. So now I have two signature lines, so I need to delete one of those, and that's okay. But this can save you time if you're sending, the same information out to, lots of different people with all separate addresses or whatever it is. Okay. And then all I have to do, since I have that template in there, I have my email address in there, I have the subject line, I can just hit send. Now I'm going to show you how to make a template. So here we go. So let's go back to Compose. And I'm going to put in, it's still loading, okay. So I'm just going to send this to, I got too many of them. I got a little click happy, I bet. Yep, so here we go. Let's see if that will catch up. All right, come on. There we go. Yeah, my computer's acting pretty slow. It's 3 o'clock. It's ready to put in a day's work, and it's done. So let's go here and let's add some text. Okay, and I just want to put in something like this. Be sure to connect through Zoom for our virtual IFL conference on July 27th. Thanks, Jerry Broyles. Okay. Now, if I want to save this as a template, all I have to do is this. I type out all the text that I want, go right here to more options, go back to templates, and then I'm going to save it, save draft as a template, or I can save as a new template. Okay. So I'm going to save this as a new template. So I can name it a template name. So here's my template name. This has to do with Zoom and IFL. So I'm going to put Zoom IFL. Now hit save. Okay, now I'm going to close this out. And I just want to show you how that looks. So let's close that out. Let's go back to Compose here. And now if I want to use that template, I do just what I did before. I go back to the three dots. I go to templates. And now it shows up here as one of my templates. So I click on Zoom IFL. And notice it puts all that text in there for me. Again, my signature doubles. That's okay. I should probably do the templates without my signature, just in case you're doing this. But just because I'm doing a demo, I'm just going to leave it in there for now. So there's my template. I can type in my recipients here. I can start doing that, whoever that is, and then I can hit send and send it off. Okay. All right. All right, I think I have discussed just about everything that I plan to discuss today. So I'm going to look over my list here and make sure that I didn't leave anything out. I think we're all good. So let's go back to the path, the Google slide deck. And we talked about sending and receiving Gmail, labels, searching in Gmail. We touched on that. We didn't really do a whole lot of search because I don't have a whole lot to search through. Remember, you have that advanced search feature here, and you can search it this way. Okay, that's very powerful. If I had some emails that I need to find, then I could definitely use that, just like you would in Outlook or another search. Remember, this is using Google, so it's a little bit better than that, though. Applying filters, we talked about filters and how to make those work. You can make it come in as something that already has a filter or has a label on it. You can choose those filters to make it move to a labeled folder. You can have it delete it. You can move it to spam, whatever you want to do. It's very powerful. Working with attachments, I sent an email with an attachment. I showed you how to do that. And then we also showed how you can take those emails and create a Google task with them. So one more time, you can go right here and you just add that little button right there, click on that, add to task, and then it becomes one of your tasks over here. Okay. So we're at the 37-minute mark, and I'm going to go ahead and end the session for today, and I will stick around for questions that you may have. So I'm going to end the recording, and I appreciate y'all coming today. Again, at 3:30, Kelly and I will be back on, and we'll do a little wrap up on the path to Google certification. So thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Good seeing you guys.